Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Ma. Thank you so much for inviting me today to speak to your guests. I'm Phungi Baloyi, and I'm a TMZ Goodwill Ambassador. Um, I've known Ma since, I think, 2010. It's been forever. So I know the foundation from the very beginning. Um, so emotional. Um, my journey with cancer started with what ifs. What if I don't make it? I had a 3-year-old son at the time. What if I die? What if I don't get to see my son grow up? And I think most of these things came from, again, fear, shock, not knowing much about the disease. That time, I really made the time to say, I want to find out what's happening in my body. I needed to know what was happening. So I started reading books. I started talking to people, to other survivors. I think that was my way out of the depression that I was seeing myself going into those first few moments after I was told that I have cancer. But going back, prior to the diagnosis, I went to the doctor with signs showing a lump. I had a lump, and my breast had dimpled. It shrunk. I went to the first doctor who told me that it's nothing, go away. It'll probably be gone after a month. I wasn't happy with that. I went to a second doctor and I told her, I've been to the doctors and this is what she told me, but can we please do further tests? So she sent me to a radiologist where they did a mammogram. I had a mammogram for the first time. They did a sauna and a biopsy on the lump that they found there. And that's how I found out, that's how they confirmed that I had stage 2 breast cancer. I went through the whole process. I had chemotherapy for 6 months. That was the worst thing ever to go through, but because I had spoken to people, I had spoken to other survivors and my doctors, I knew what to expect. Difficult as it was, I knew that in the end, it will be all worth it. I went through the 6 months, I lost my hair, I looked terrible, but that was like the least of my problems. All I wanted was, I knew I want to get to the end of this. I went through the 6 months of chemo, I went through surgery after that. They chopped off half of the breast and they did a reconstruction. After that, it was radiation. All those were not half as bad as having chemo, but I was glad I was nearing the end. I think it was 8 months of treatment. I went and did a scan again, and they didn't find any cancer at the end of the 8 months, so I was cancer-free. But because of the type of cancer that I had to be put on a pill for 5 years, a hormone blocker, which also came with its own side effects. It was like I was menopausing. I had night sweats. It was just horrible, but I did what I had to do. And at the end of 2013, that was when I completed my 5-year treatment. And I was out of the danger zone because with cancer, the first 5 years after you've had cancer, that's where it's most prone to come back. But 5 years was over and I was good. 2013. 2014, June, I found out I was pregnant. And this was for me a miracle because of the hormone blocker that was on. The doctor said that I might not have kids again afterwards, you know. And for me to have had a baby at that time, it was like, wow, a miracle for me. And now I have this little 2-year-old boy who has just brought so much joy into our lives. He's just turned my whole house upside down. We are just loving him. 2015, I didn't go for my 2015, I didn't go for my screening because I go every year. I see my doctor every 3 months. 2015, I didn't go for my mammogram because of the pregnancy. No, 2014. Okay, I'm losing my numbers there. But anyway, last year I went for my mammogram, as per usual. And they found out that the cancer was back again. The what ifs came back again. This time they were even worse because I had gone through and I've seen people go through cancer and not making it. But again, I had to pull myself back and say, I'm not going to give up. I survived this the first time, I'm going to survive this again. And that's the attitude that I've adopted. I've completed my 6 months of chemo again. December 2016. That's when I completed the chemo. I've had my radiation. And I've gone back for mammogram again this year to check how far the progress is, because this time they were not operating. And from 2 tumors, I think a 28 millimeter and a 15 millimeter tumor, to a tiny 6 millimeter tumor that's left right now, I think I've done very well. And I think I'm well on my way to recovery. But I would like to acknowledge the foundation, to acknowledge Ma. The day I called her and told her that the cancer is back, Ma has been literally by my side. Whether it's through a phone call, a text to check how I'm doing, or sending people from the foundation to come and check on me, whether it's to bring me flowers or whatever. The foundation has really been a rock for me. I really appreciate that, Ma. You know, even going to the extent of finding ways of helping with the side effects of chemo. When I was going through my chemo, Ma did her research and we went to this doctor together, and it really, really helped with the side effects of chemo. I coped so much better than I did the first time. And I really don't take that for granted. I appreciate you, and from the bottom of my heart, I really want to thank you. And yeah, I know we're going to beat this again. We're going to beat this again. And yeah, it's really not a death sentence.